Oakenquist.
And what's today?
Second Sunday of Lent.
Yes, good job. And what do you share?
My mom.
Good morning. I'm Jody Oakenquist, and that was Grayson. Some of you may recognize him as the child who has crawled under your pew mid-service to retrieve a wayward toy, or the voice interrupting morning announcements to add his own 2 cents. I know him as my son, and he is correct. It's the second Sunday of Lent, and he does share his mom. So as you know, during this season of Lent, we are focusing on shifting our frame of thought from giving up to giving out in hopes of deepening our connection with God. I'm very thankful to be able to share a little bit with you today about generosity through family and our family's story. For those of you who don't know us, Grayson came to me through foster care when he was 17 months old, and he has been my pride and joy ever since. My journey through adopting Grayson and fostering many other children has taught me lots about generosity through family and the gifts that you can receive when you're willing to give. I'll start with a little context kind of actually how we even got here to this point of kind of the beautiful chaos that has become our family life and what a gift that it really is. So before Grayson came to me, I lived alone. It was just me and my dog, and it was really quiet in my house, and I had lots of free time. I never dropped the ball at work. I never had to vacuum goldfish crumbs out of the corners of my couch. And I really loved that peaceful, quiet, organized period of my life. But I was also missing something. So for me, that something was children. And eventually my longing to be a mom outweighed my fear of being a single mom, and I decided to make a call to learn more about foster care. And the rest is history. So I think this context is really important, that I was happy, but also longing for something. And that's because people often praise my decision to foster and adopt as this giving, selfless act, and that's not the case. It is not completely altruistic. The children who have blessed my life have brought me so much. They have given me family, they've given me motherhood, they've given me love and joy and purpose. Because of this, it's easier for me to talk about what generosity has brought me versus generosity that I have given. And it took me a really long time to figure out what our family is giving or what generosity through family is. But I kept coming back to grace. So that may seem funny, but I think that's what we're giving, and here's why. Building a family through foster care and adoption requires you to give out grace. If you cannot find grace in your heart for the people that you'll have to interact with, your heart will break. And I've learned that it's far easier to give out grace than to withhold it. That God calls us to give out grace. Parenting in general, I think, calls us to give out grace. We hug our children after they tantrum. We forgive them for busting in on us in the bathroom. We don't begrudge them for our smaller bank accounts or our messier houses. We give them grace because they're ours. They're part of us. They're not other. The gift of fostering has been that because my children come to me with other experiences and other family, I have to give my grace to others in order to fully love my children. I have to give grace to the father who has wielded a knife at his child. I have to give grace to the drug-addicted mother whose newborn was also born addicted. I have to give grace to the aunt who has broken a safety plan and allowed for visits. I have to give grace over and over and over again. And then the funny thing is that I have to pray for grace. I have to pray that these same people give me grace in return because I am parenting their child and I am not perfect. So speaking of being perfect or not being perfect, I'm still practicing giving out grace. In fact, more often than not, I jump straight to anger and impatience and judgment. It's really hard to keep your cool during a temper tantrum when you're running late for work. it is even harder not to judge someone who has hurt a child. But what I'm finding is that when I choose to give out my grace, whether it is to Grayson after finding his nail polish graffiti on my dresser, or to the recovering mother who I handed our beloved Champ back to this Thanksgiving, that I am given peace in return. And through that peace, I'm reminded that God gives us unending grace. Grayson started us out today by letting you know that he shares his mom, and he does that beautifully. So during Lent, I ask you to consider what you can share through your family or with your family. I hope that at the very least, you will find one person to whom you can extend just a little extra grace. But my hunch is that you'll do a lot more than that. And I know this because many of you have already shared your family or your family's blessings with our family. You have gifted your hand-me-down clothes, you have babysat, you have examined an infected tooth at coffee hour, you've shared your recipes, you've offered a listening ear or a play date, or you've simply smiled at me as I shushed my boisterous boy. The list goes on and on and on. So I'll end by saying thank you. Thank you for your generosity and the gift of church family. And thank you for everything that you do that has helped our family to keep giving.